Welcome back to another episode of the Sports Dan Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Hooker. I have a special guest here with me today. You can go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm DJ Cadden. I'm a beat writer at the Clemson Insider. Good to be here.
Okay, so DJ, you do a lot of traveling for your job and all that. So what podcast do you like to listen to while you're on the road? Or maybe just waiting before a game?
Um, I don't know. I've gotten out of listening to podcasts a lot. I'm trying to get back into it. I listen to Pick a Side podcasts. They release about 3 hour episodes, two a week. So it's a good way to kill time. There's a couple smaller college football ones I listened to for a couple of years, but mostly just Pick a Side and music is all I listen to.
Okay, okay. Who is DJ Cadden outside of the Clemson Insider? Like, who is the person that he is?
That's a tough question. I don't know. I like to golf. I worked at you go to Georgia Southern, I went here. I worked at the golf course out here. I like to golf a lot. I don't know, really all I do is sports. All I watch is sports. All I really talk about is sports. Um, I like to cook a little bit, like to play golf, like spend time with people.
Yes. So who are your favorite teams?
All right. So I started out I used to not watch professional sports. I used to just care about Clemson. I grew up a Clemson fan.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously I cheer for Georgia Southern. So all my professional teams they originate from Clemson. So
Wow.
I'm a Bills fan. I'm a Sixers fan, and I'm a Braves fan just because they're in state.
Yeah. So you had a lot of heartbreak the past couple of years. That's what I'm.
Yeah. A lot.
Nah, the Bills. How do you feel about Josh Allen as your quarterback?
He's the second best quarterback in the league, so I mean, I feel pretty good about it.
He's second
Mahomes is
best.
the only one better.
So you don't think Joe Burrow is better than Josh Allen?
Absolutely not.
Hmm, I like that. I like that. I like that you ride for the home teams. I can respect that.
Yeah.
Um, who or what inspired you to be a sports writer?
Um, I don't really know if there was. My mom said I used to when I was little. I was just like every little boy does, but I'd go out in the backyard or in the cul-de-sac and commentate my own basketball or football games. So I guess it just started back when I was little because I mean, I fell in love with sports. I love basketball. I love college football. Um, I don't know. I don't know if there's anybody specific that inspired me. I mean, I have favorites like everybody, Jim Nance, Mike Breen, Kevin Harlan, all those guys.
Yeah. Okay. So what has been your favorite story to write so far?
Um, it's probably a story I wrote here at Georgia Southern for the Georgian. I wrote a story about the first three Black scholarship athletes at Georgia Southern,
Hmm.
and I got to. Unfortunately, I didn't get to talk to any of them. I think they've all passed, but I got to talk to a lot of their teammates and learn a lot of history about the integration of Georgia Southern. So that was a pretty cool story.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. So, what has been the journey to being a sports to being a Clemson insider writer from that to when you were a little DJ?
I don't know. I mean, I kept up with Clemson football, Clemson recruiting, Clemson basketball. I kept up with everything Clemson my whole life, and I kind of stumbled into this job. I was on journalismjobs.com because I was graduating in the spring, was looking for jobs anywhere, applying all across the country. And I applied to this Clemson job, and he emailed me back and said we actually hired somebody else. I keep a resume for any future openings. And I was like, dang. So I just kept applying, and then a couple weeks later, um, I think he might have just reached out to me, or I emailed him back again. But um, my boss Robert, he emailed me and said the person we had hired actually took a job with a Major League Baseball team, so the spot's open again. And I interviewed, got the job, started part time in January, right at the end of January, early February, when I was still at Georgia Southern,
Mhm.
and then uh, yeah, went full time a couple weeks after I graduated.
Okay. Okay. So you came around the time like when it was like recruiting got really hot in like May and June.
Yeah, well, I started back in January. I think one of the first 2 or 3 stories I wrote, we had junior day on January 28th.
Hmm.
So there was a ton of guys in town, ton of 2024 guys in town. Um, so I kind of wrote about that, talked to some of those guys. That's really what we're focusing on right now is 2024. I guess 2025 too, now that we're sending out offers. But we had junior day that day, we had another junior day, and then we've had camp the past 2 weekends. So it's been a lot of recruiting the past 6 months.
Yeah. My you and my dad will have a great conversation because he's a Clemson fan. He's a Clemson fan. My sister's a Clemson fan, but my mom, she's a Georgia fan. And then like we have a house divided. It's like it goes crazy because when Clemson won the championships, my dad used to celebrate so much in front of our faces. So now it's like so now he loves Dabo. Like he said, I need a sweatshirt like Dabo every day. Like that's all he talks about.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings on Dabo, but I mean, I could do a whole podcast on that.
Yeah.
Great guy, just disagree with some stuff.
Yeah. What impact has sports has had on you so far in your life?
I mean, it's sports is my life. Um, I mean, obviously, I do it. I write about sports as a job. I live sports all the time. Um, I mean, my identity is basically tied up into sports. So, I mean, I don't really know how to describe the impact, but sports is my passion and it's basically what I live for at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. So did you play any sports in high school?
Um, so I played football my freshman year. I lived out in Nebraska, but other than that, I did swimming for a year. But other than that, I didn't play any for my high school. I played rec basketball all throughout high school, but that's about it.
That's Nah, swimming is different. Swimming is probably one of the hardest sports because there's so much on your body. So,
Yes.
I don't know how you did it for a year.
I did summer swim team for 12 or 13 years, and I did year round swim for about a year or two, and then kind of quit right after my sophomore year of high school.
That's crazy. That's 12, 13 years swimming. That's crazy. So now, what lessons did you learn while at Georgia Southern?
That's a good question. We have some good journalism professors. Um, I know I was talking to you about Gina. Gina will push you to the brink. She wants the best out of you. Um, what lessons did I learn? Um, I don't know. You got to push your sources. You got to get everything you can out of your sources. You need to develop your sources, that's a loaded answer, but um, I don't know. Over my 4 years at Southern, I just learned how to become a better storyteller. I feel like haven't got to do much feature writing for Clemson yet, but um, I don't know. We have some great professors, and I just learned how to. I like to consider myself a good writer. I like to when I came to college, but the professors here have made me much better than what I thought I could be.
Yeah. Yeah. So now we're gonna get into a game of this or that. I'll give you two options and then you choose between the two.
All right.
All right. If you had a documentary, which company would you want to make it? ESPN or Netflix?
Hmm. Netflix. They make some good documentaries.
Okay. Who who do you think you wrote the best stories for? George Ann or Clemson Insider?
I don't know. Probably that's a tough question because I haven't gotten to do much feature stuff yet for Clemson. So I would say the Georgia just because there's so many stories. I got to cover Chad Lunsford getting fired, Clay Helton getting hired. I told you about the first African American athlete story. A bunch of cool stories like that. So probably the Georgia game.
Okay. Which restaurant has better food? El Sama or Del Sur?
El Sam has better food, but if I'm gonna go drink somewhere, I'm gonna go drink at Del Sur.
Okay. Bites or Nats?
Nah, it's easy.
Okay. Which sports do you like covering more? Outdoor sports or indoor sports?
I don't know because I'm really indoors no matter what press box, but I'll go outdoors because it's that has football and baseball. I'll take outdoors.
Okay. Which city has better food, Clemson or Statesboro?
Oh, that's a tough question. They both have some really good spots. I'll go Statesboro for now. I haven't got to try everything in Clemson yet, so I'll go with Statesboro for now.
Okay, last question. Which city has better tailgating, Clemson or Statesboro?
Clemson, just because there's so much more and there's so much money in tailgating at Clemson, it's ridiculous. So I'll go with Clemson. But
Okay.
state don't get it twisted. Statesboro, we do it right down here.
All right. That's the end of the game or this or that. So did you enjoy it?
I did.
Okay. Talk to me, talk to me about your favorite sports to write about so far as your young career goes.
Um, Favorite sport to write about might be baseball. I don't. I'm not. I wasn't a huge baseball fan coming into college, but as you know, I mean George Southern's been good at baseball outside of this year. So I kind of fell in love with college baseball. I like covering those games. There's a lot of unique ways to tell a story in baseball. Um, but women's basketball, Anita Howard, I love covering her. She's a character. Um, but yeah, I'll probably go with baseball for now.
Okay. Um, Now that you attend a lot of sporting events, what is your pregame ritual, your pregame meal, and what's on your pregame playlist?
It's interesting. Pre-game meal kind of just depends on whatever the press box has. Whatever they have, I'll eat. Um, Pre-game ritual, if I'm covering a game, I'll get there hour and a half, 2 hours early. Um, Set up my laptop, plug everything in, make sure I get if it's pick your own seating, make sure I get the spot I want. Um, and then sometimes I walk around the stadium, um, walk around the stadium, and then about an hour from tip off, kickoff, first pitch, whatever it is. I'll tweet something out, start a thread for whatever I'm covering, and then really I'll just kind of just sit on my phone, write some stuff on my laptop before the game starts, and then once the game starts, I'm locked in.
Okay. Okay. What's on your pregame playlist?
It kind of depends. I'm a big Taylor Swift fan, so I listen to a lot of Taylor Swift. Um, Kind of just depends on the vibe. Dreams and Nightmares is my song to get hype. So I say I'll probably listen to that every game day, every football game day at least. But Taylor Swift just makes up the most of the playlist.
Okay. Okay, that's new. That's new. That's new. I haven't heard Taylor Swift yet. That's new. That's new. That's new. Um, Talk to me about balance between your job and like your personal life because we know like sports is like never ending. So how do you balance that with having a personal life?
Um, just time managed. That's the biggest thing. At the Clemson Insider, we full time. We write 3 stories a day. Which ends up 21 a week. But I like to pre-write a lot of mine. A lot of the stuff we're doing is interviews with recruits. And especially this year. But I like to do those interviews, write them up, and then I'll have them ready to go, but not submit them for publishing until I need to. But time management, really do it do it at night so you can have the next day off, or do it in the morning so you can have the rest of the day. Just stuff like that.
Okay. Okay. Talk to me about talk to me about meeting some well-known people throughout your job. So like what are some well-known people that you met just because
Um,
of
I, I actually met Thomas Boyd at camp the other day. Um, Anita Howard, I love talking to her. Bunch of recruits, bunch of guys that I talk to every now and then. Sammy Brown, talked to him few times. Some other 4 or 5 star guys. Is there anybody else well known that I've met? I don't think so. I used to run a college football Instagram account back in the day, so I used to have a friendship with Bijan Robinson. I mean, I know he's big time now, but I've talked to him a few times. Still do every now and then. There's an NFL running back, Darrington Evans, went to App, that I talk to every now and then. But yeah, I've met a few really cool people.
Okay. Okay. That's a really good list. I'm not that's a really good list. Really good list. Because Taj Boyd, he started quarterback training at Clemson. Anita Howard is Anita Howard.
Hmm.
Sammy Brown just come
Yeah.
to Clemson. And then having all those 4 star and 5 star guys that you interviewed, that's really good. Um, can you talk to me about what can we see from Clemson football this year?
I don't know. It's interesting. It's a very loaded question. Um, I don't know. I got a lot of opinions here. I'm gonna take the fan out of it for this question. Clemson is good enough to win the ACC again, but so is Florida State, and that game is going. I don't remember what day that or game that is. I think it's game 4. Um, they come to Clemson. Yes, game 4 they come to Clemson, and whoever wins that game is more than likely winning the division and probably the ACC. But I'm interested to see how Garrett Riley's offense looks. I'm excited to see us utilize the middle of the field a lot more than we have in the past few years. Cade Klubnik is interesting. He has the 5 star talent, but he has some things that he needs to work on. But I don't know. I'm thinking we win at least 10 games, keep the streak going. But the ceiling of this team is a national title contender. I'm not going to say we're the favorite because Georgia plays a cupcake schedule, but we are good enough to win a national title, especially our defense. This might be one of the best defenses Dabo's ever had, which is saying something.
Okay. Nah, I can see you guys winning 10. It's just that Florida State game is like a lot's gonna be right on it, and then like Florida State has a whole bunch of experience on the offensive end.
Yeah, but our defense, the defense we put out this year might be it's one of the top 2 or 3 most talented in college football. There's guys that people don't know that are gonna wreck college football. Peter Woods is the best. He might be the best defensive lineman in football already. He's never played a game.
Okay. Okay. I can see that. I can see that. I can see that.
He's a stud.
Okay. What goals do you look for to take down in the future?
Um, well, obviously the dream is to work for a company like ESPN. That's been my dream growing up, my entire life. Um, Not sure how attainable that is, but kind of just moving up. Um, I'm pretty comfortable at my job now, especially my family's from South Carolina, so I'm around them all the time. Um, but probably just work for some bigger companies. I want to cover golf long term. That's my favorite sport. That's just my dream is to cover PJ Tour. Um, so I don't know, just probably just moving up some bigger companies, and just being able to write more feature stuff would probably be a part of that too.
Okay. So I'll give you a scenario. 5 years from now, DJ Cadden would be what?
I don't know, 5 years from now, that's an interesting timeline. 5 years from now, I'll probably still be at the Clemson, so staying where I'm at, staying comfortable, staying close to home is probably the most important thing for the next 5, 6 years.
Okay, okay. Um, Coming down to last two questions. What was a quote that you heard and you still live by to this day?
Um, there's a few. I'll go with one from Dabo Sweeney actually. Um, the only disability in life is a bad attitude. It's probably one of my favorite quotes. I used to have posted on one of my walls in here, but um, that's probably one of my favorite. Just staying positive, staying motivated throughout everything.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. So for my last question to conclude the interview, why do you love doing what you do?
And mine just stems from a love of sports. I mean, this was my dream was being able to travel, cover every Clemson football game, every Clemson basketball game, baseball game. I mean, this is what I grew up dreaming of. Just being around sports all the time. I mean, you can ask anybody I know. All I watch is sports. Um, so I don't know, just being around it. Um, just being around it, being able to meet those guys, talk to those guys that I still look up to is really cool.
Well, that's really cool. Well, do you have any final thoughts? Any final words?
Um, Not sure. I don't think so.
Okay. Okay, bet. Um, well, I'm your host, Jonathan Hooker, signing out with DJ Cadden, Clemson writer for Clemson Insider. And we see you guys on the next one. Peace.